Oh, I got a hot track.
Yes.
It's building. It's building.
What are the kids saying these days? It's lit.
Never again. Okay.
Why do I even?
I appreciate.
Why do I try?
I appreciate the Jet Set Radio vibes right now. Woo! Welcome everyone. This is not a Jet Set Radio podcast, though. This is a League of Legends podcast. This is the Nexus by theScore.
Yeah. Tell us about this guest, brother.
All right. Well, let's tell them about ourselves first. I'm Gabe. With
Josh.
us, we got Josh.
I'm sorry. I'm Ryan. Hello. I'm busy over here. I'm looking at Xmithie's food on his Instagram. It's just distracting. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Distracted by the Insta.
A little bit of a spoiler. We got a really good guest today. We got former CLG, current Immortals Jungler, off to a hot start. It's Xmithie.
2-0.
It's pretty good. They beat TSM on their way to that perfect record.
Yeah. And which is, I think, the first time that's happened for Immortals in a best of series.
Going 2-0 or beating TSM.
I think so.
I actually don't know the stats on that. They definitely have beat TSM in their spring season when they went 16-1. So I don't know how accurate that is.
What about the one? Oh wait, right.
They would play twice. So. nice
True.
try.
And listen,
Saw it on Twitter. Yeah.
TSM were highly touted coming into the beginning of this LCS split, and I know it was just one game, but yeah, of course, Immortals took it 2-0, man.
Yeah.
Great to see.
Yeah.
Hot start, hot take.
We're gonna talk to the newest edition and see how much of that is
he
his
responsible
doing.
for the
Yeah,
win?
exactly.
Yeah.
So let's get Xmithie on the line. Hello, Xmithie. How are you doing today?
I woke up like 20 minutes ago, so
No worries.
Good morning.
It's PST. When I was in LA a couple weeks ago for the college championship, and it was similar vibe, like waking up. It just felt so weird because
Yeah.
I'm also used to East Coast time. So for me, waking up around that time actually felt like sleeping in. Because but it's not for you. So is this a time that you would normally wake up, or is this not something you're used to?
we usually wake up around 8:30, and it's
Okay.
9:10.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So do you guys scrim early? Is that why, or you just like sort of get ready, get energized for the day? What's the daily schedule like?
Everyone scrims around 10 a.m. to like 5 p.m.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh,
We just usually
straight.
wake up at 8:30 just because like our coaching staff thinks that it's best, and I think it's good too.
Hmm. So you said 10 to 5. I'm assuming there's like a lunch break in the middle, hopefully.
Yeah, it's like some people do like 1 to 2 for like lunch break.
So is this like a newly implemented kind of schedule? Because I know before teams used to scrim at like noon Pacific to 3 and 4 to 7. Is that have people changed to move it earlier, and if so, why?
Pretty much I think every LCS team, maybe like 1 or 2 LCS teams are not in the same schedule, but people wanted to scrim earlier because like usually LCS starts at 12, and then most LCS teams wake up around this time anyway, and then people want to have like around like the same schedule as LCS, and then usually when you play around 3 p.m. you can actually get like a game, like some people want to play like a scrim game before LCS, so yeah.
Oh, okay.
So in terms of the, I guess the NA schedule in people's day to day, has this sort of evolved to the point that it's at now, or is it no different than day one?
Sorry, can you repeat it again?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like your day to day schedule, waking up, doing scrims, is that something that's come along as the NA LCS has continued to grow, or has this been like the same schedule since day one?
Like it has the schedule been the same
It
from
changed.
last year?
It changed for LCS. So yeah, it was like even before LCS, like everyone started like some people started at 2, or like some people started at 12, and then people just wanted to have the same schedule, and we decided to scrim at this time.
Yeah, and in traditional sports, it's well known when teams practice, when they do their shoot around or morning skates or whatever, when they do their practices. And I would like to imagine that as the NALCS starts to move towards franchising and players' rights, players' unions, that they had to have some continuity with their players in their day-to-day. And maybe this is what Xmithie's talking about. Maybe teams are starting to come together now to organize consistency.
It's also just healthier to wake up earlier, right? Honestly,
Definitely.
Yeah. I think it's much better. There's more time to do at the evening. Like if you wanna scrim more, or if you wanna party more, there's more time to do at night.
Is there a lot of partying going on in the Immortals house, or
There should be 2-0.
I don't think there has been no parties.
Not yet. They gotta wait.
No
till-
parties.
I feel like that's Pobelter's fault, right? Like I feel like he'd be the guy that would set that up. He's the man in the middle, right?
Eugene's the party animal.
So in terms of a welcome party, how has the Immortals sort of welcomed you?
Hello.
Go. And he might be frozen.
Oh,
and
you
he's
there?
back.
Hello?
Hey,
Yeah,
sorry
so-
about
there
that. Yeah, we were just wondering how Immortals has welcomed you. What was the process behind that? And also, what's it like changing teams just generally as a player? Are you informed of the decision beforehand at all? Or do they just come up to you and they're like, hey, you got traded, you got to go? What kind of say do you have in that whole trade or transfer process?
I don't really want to talk that much about the trade because it was kind of, I guess, sudden.
Yeah.
But everyone, it was pretty mutual, and then we all talked about it, and then we all agreed that that was the best plan for both players.
Okay.
And yeah, I got traded. How long has it been? A month. It was a few days before my birthday, so it was it was kind of a good birthday gift. So.
So it was very sudden, and the team kind of talked to you about it, right?
Yeah.
So was it that they talked to you and they're like, you have to do this, or was the final decision still kind of yours in the end?
It was I guess 50-50.
Okay. Okay.
So they knew they wanted to trade you, but they also kind of checked with you in a way to see how you felt about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at some point in terms of players on certain teams wanting to change, get traded, or trades that just happen, it's nice to think that everyone it's a win-win, right? Are you happy? Are you
Everyone
happy?
gets their say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
win-win-win situation in Steve Carell, but
That doesn't always happen.
no,
but
the thing
it's
is, it
nice.
doesn't always happen. Sometimes people are at the mercy of what organizations say. And if they say, listen, we want to trade junglers because we want to go with a different play style, I think it's going to work with whatever, bring a new coach. Sometimes it's not always a win-win. And sometimes there is someone that gets the short end of a stick. Sometimes it's contract dollars. Sometimes it's personality. But it's always an interesting time when people get traded.
So far, it seems to be working out for both teams.
Yes.
So far.
It's week one,
Yeah.
but so far both teams seem to be thriving on this, which is pretty cool to see because it's not something you see every day. Like you said, one team could potentially get
Quick
the short end of the
fixes
stick.
don't. Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Another thing just about that, I guess, is you're being embedded into a new team. Not everyone, though, is a new teammate of yours, right? You have Pobelter with you. That's something that we acknowledged in articles past, that this is someone who you've worked with, who you've won an NA LCS title with. How has that relationship kind of continued, and how does that synergy help you guys currently? Obviously, with this hot start, it's working out pretty well. But how close were you with Pobelter when you guys were on separate teams, and how well are you guys working together now compared to in the past?
Eugene was actually one of my really good friends back in CLG. He was always the quiet type, and then I was sort of the quiet type, but usually when I'm close with people, I'm usually the goofiest one around.
Okay.
So me and Eugene got along really well during NCLG, and even in Immortals. Usually in LCS, we always say hi to each other, and we always hang out with each other. And yeah, he was one of the easiest ones to get along with again when I came here, and then it made it much easier. The transfer he made it much easier for me to come in here and then like try to fit in with the team.
Listen, anytime I go into a new social situation, new workplace, I love just to be a magnet to that one person I know to sort of to be
Guide
my
you
anchor.
along.
Yeah. If I go to
Absolutely.
a party, I like to have that one person that I know as my point of reference. Who do you know? Oh, I know Pole Belter. Oh, okay, cool. How's it going? And
You don't know Pole Belter. Come on.
You wish.
Back it off.
Yeah.
But it's how important was that to have somebody there, Xmithie, like Pole Belter, to help introduce you to the team? I mean, has it paid off?
It's pretty important, but I think it was pretty easy to get along with everyone. And I'm rooming with Cody right now.
Okay.
And then we usually have like pillow talk sometimes, just talk about the game. So
Not in
and
the
then-
same bed or in different beds?
dude,
or- I'm just
no
wondering.
comment, no comment.
I
And
can.
then Flame is like he's really easygoing, and then he's actually really talkative in game, which just surprised me because like I thought like a Korean and then like he'd be really reserved, but like he's one of the most outspoken in the team.
Mhm.
Has that clashed with your shot calling, or has it complemented it?
Sorry, say it again.
Has that clashed with your shot calling, or complemented it?
A little bit of both. It was just like we were just pretty new to each other, and then we tried to fit our play style together, and then it's been working. But there's still been some clashes because like language barrier and like just the wording that we usually do is kind of different. So we're still learning. And then Ole has like really good English,
Mhm.
and he's pretty easy to talk to, and Cody, and then Eugene is pretty easy too.
I'm just imagining the conversations that you have with Cody's son. Like you're both like just lying in bed, and then somebody just says, Do you ever wonder if that's actually Bard's face? Is that his face? Is that a
Those are the
mask?
exact conversations that we do.
I'm glad my fan
Very
fiction
game
is consistent.
specific,
Yeah, very
yeah.
consistent with reality. Excellent.
Yeah.
So, Xmithie, what was the atmosphere when you first came on with Immortals? I mean, people are starting to read now that you're coming in as the calmer, more reserved, experienced jungler to help sort of, I guess, calm. Yeah.
And also, when you're coming in, there was like media being released about how not great the team environment was overall. So with that video that Immortals themselves put out, obviously. So how has that changed since you've come here? And I mean, obviously, you're talking about how people are more talkative, and obviously everyone's friendly. Does that make it? Does that make it so that there was like a single source of the problem in the past, I guess?
Oh,
Dodging around the question.
I mean,
I actually never watched the video,
Oh,
so
okay.
Good.
I couldn't really relate. But the atmosphere right now is obviously going to be good because it's the honeymoon phase for everyone. Everyone
winning.
wants to hang, like everyone wants to be really good to each other, and I think that's the start of every team.
Mhm.
And it's pretty normal. I'm not really getting worried about it yet, since like I said, it's just the honeymoon phase. I want it to be over, but at the same time like not. But I just want to see like how people react if they lose, or like if people tilt, or like if people get upset, and then that's when like you test like how the real team is.
Yeah, and another thing is coaching too, right? There's a coaching change that came up with Song, but I noticed in week 1 that Song actually wasn't present for the pick and ban. Is he like in the house? Is he available? Or like how is that setup, that coaching setup, helpful to the team environment, I guess? And how is it different from your time on CLG?
Coach Song has been in the house until 2 weeks, or not 2 weeks, like a few days ago, because he has to go back to Korea for his visa,
Okay.
and then he's gonna come back here like tomorrow or the next day after, and then yeah, like his coaching style is like I guess different from like my past coaches, but he still focuses on macro a lot, so that's pretty important for like having a coach, is like knowing how to macro and like how rotations work. And then he pretty much tells us like pretty much the whole team just like what's the best way to win the game, and then we're just enforcing it, like, and then I pretty much learn a lot from him. So yeah.
One thing that you mentioned, Xmithie, that I think is really interesting is you said, like, it's easy to be in this situation when you're winning, but when you lose, that's kind of when you see how people really deal with
True colors.
Yeah, bad situations. You guys won against some pretty good teams, or specifically one very, very good team in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
And in week 2, you're going to have a couple teams that I think some people might classify as a little bit weaker, especially like Envy. I think people are looking at that team, and even though they went 1-1 in week 1.
And FlyQuest didn't do well.
Yeah,
either.
FlyQuest. But although I think, FlyQuest is kind of a wild card, like, is it kind of a little bit intimidating to play a team like Envy, knowing that you had this great week 1, and then if you lose against Envy, it's kind of like then suddenly people are like, okay, this isn't for real.
Definitely. It's like the complacency thing for everyone where, well, we beat like the best team right now. There's like no point being doing your effort for like 100% next week,
Mm-hmm.
which is like, my mentality before was like, even if we were against like Echo Fox, or we were against Winter Fox, or we were against like TSM, like my effort was always the same.
Mm-hmm.
So that like whenever I play them, I don't feel bad if we ever lose to someone, because like I always did 100% of my effort, and that's what I'm trying to instill in this team, so that even when we won that first game against TSM, I just told everyone to just relax and just try to play like a best of one, same thing, and then it worked. But hopefully this week is going to be the same thing.
Yeah, I love that mentality, and it's the story of sports and esports. So like again and again and again, that when you play what a crappier opponent, one that you're supposed to stomp, whatever you want to say, right? You start to just like take breaks, start to do slip ups, you start to play sloppy. But championship teams that end up making it that far do exactly what Xmithie just said. You play it like it's a best of one. Every single game that you get ready for, it doesn't matter if it's SK Telecom or some Challenger Series team.
Remove the names
Yes.
from the jerseys. Yeah.
The thing is that you've honestly got to take it as it's a championship game every single day. And then, like Xmithie said, you leave it all out there. You leave it all out on the rift. There's not one more thing that you could have done. And then at least if you lost, you could at least feel satisfied with the fact that, hey, man, like we gave it our best. Rather than just we got into some bad mistakes that might come to haunt us again next week when we play a quote-unquote better team.
Definitely.
All right. Let's jump gears a
Okay.
bit.
All right.
Because I want to talk about something.
You put your hands
Re-
up like that, and
Yeah.
I got really scared. Like, you were like, all right, and I was like,
I'm ready. I'm
like,
ready
lean back
because I'm
away
ready
from-
for this topic. And I think it's super interesting. Again, we didn't really get player perspective on this. I think this is really good to talk about. Xmithie, I want to talk to you about the upcoming franchising for the 2018 NA LCS. You may not be familiar with all the details. I don't know how much you know about it, but I just want general thoughts immediately. Like, what was your gut reaction, your first reaction when you heard or saw the news that Riot released with all the details about permanent partnerships in the NA LCS?
I guess like the first thing, it was just like what teams are gonna be in, like how many teams are gonna be in there. It's gonna be interesting since there's gonna be a lot of old guards like still trying to get in there, like CSM, CLG, Team Liquid,
Mm-hmm.
like Dignitas even. Like, are they all gonna be there? Cause like that's like a really big branding for pretty much in the LCS, or like pretty much League of Legends in general. So I'm gonna be like looking forward to like what Riot is gonna go for on like what teams to be franchised.
Yeah, I mean, we've always talked about the teams and the entities of the teams, and we've been talking to team owners about how they're going to get brand recognition, the application process. But one thing I feel like we're really missing the plot on are players and the
Yep.
fact that they feel like, I have a job next year, even if you're with
Yeah, the
someone like
security.
Immortals.
Yep.
You don't know if your job is going to be in there come November. So, I mean, if you were a professional player, I mean, you got to imagine that your livelihood, it's up in limbo, and that's got to be a little scary. Maybe not for someone like Xmithie, like again, going to Worlds and whatever, but maybe. I mean, do you feel secure with your job, Xmithie?
To the extent, yeah. Since also Riot also talked about having like a players association, which they're gonna find for us, which is technically kind of weird. Like if it's like another company, it's like your employer trying to make like a players association for you.
Yeah.
But Riot always like goes for like good intention. So like, I'm not that worried. Maybe a little bit, but it's just yeah.
I guess it's not the fox guarding the chicken coop, but it's still it could lead to some problems.
Well, they have said that the intention is eventually they want to allow this to build and then to turn it over to the players and have it be its own distinct thing.
I get
the
that.
question is how long does that take? And how separate is it really after
they turn it over?
And if they've got,
how much do they turn over? At
they've
the
got
end
the
of it all,
fucking
right?
money right now. Why not hire an outside consultant to lead up this players' association?
I mean, that might be the process they're going for. We don't know.
Yeah,
the
true.
exact
It is only
details,
fresh,
right?
but still,
Right.
the thing is that this deadline's coming up fast, man. A year flies by in no time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's going to take a lot of roadblocks, a lot of little diversions and whatever to figure out what needs to happen with the players' association. So, why isn't there a head of the players' association right now?
right now.
Well, this is the other thing is Riot will be providing the initial candidates for player representatives. Like
Yeah.
Riot is
They
seemingly
get to
choosing
choose.
which players will be those representatives. I mean, they're still voted on by the players.
Yeah.
So they're like saying like, okay, here are the candidates, and you can vote for these candidates, or you
Yep.
can say we don't want any of these candidates,
Yeah.
and we want to have new candidates, that's okay, but to me, it's kind of weird that they're choosing the initial batch of candidates. Like, why isn't there like an open ballot for all the players to vote? I don't. It's just weird to me.
Well, you saw what happened with the NA LCS MVP and first team
Oh,
voting.
yeah.
People might just troll their votes. No, I don't know. But what? Okay, Xmithie, as a player, what kind of qualities and what kind of candidates would you like to see? Like, who are the kinds of players that immediately jump to mind for yourself? And you can even say you if you
I
want.
declare myself.
Yeah.
I want to know if you would do it, Xmithie.
Yeah,
Honestly. I
but-
want to know if you consider doing it.
So that's a follow-up, but I want to know, like, immediately, like, who jumps to mind for you as, like, a representative of the NALCS Players Union?
Are we talking about like players ourselves, or like talking about?
Yeah, of all the players, there
Oh.
has to be a player representative of this. Hopefully
Someone
there should
elected to the
be.
student
There will be.
council.
Right,
They
there
said-
will be.
they
They
said
said
there
there
will
will
be,
be.
yeah.
Who's the player that jumps to in your mind as the ideal person to kind of be that representative? And it could be you. If you want to say it's you, you could say it's you.
There's not much people who are knowledgeable outside the game.
That's an acceptable answer.
I would nominate my boy Eugene.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
Melter.
He has,
Okay.
He has 200 IQ.
200
Like-
IQ?
Like,
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he can learn like all of this business and financial stuff pretty easily. So
So you would go for someone like skewing younger rather than
Yeah.
someone who's older and I guess more
someone who has
quote
a
unquote
longer lifespan
experience.
than me.
Longer lifespan.
What if Riot comes to you and says, we want you to stand as one of the first batch of candidates? Would you do it?
I'll tell them I'm not gonna read anything, but I'll just say
Maybe
I think
that's what they want.
I think that's their ideal
Maybe that's
representative.
what they want, man. Like, oh, you're not going to read anything. All right. Yeah, you're in.
I'll say no.
No
for
more
the-
voting, he
For the
said.
sake of LCS, I'll say no.
Listen, the thing I worry about with this whole players thing is that if a team gets in, maybe it's some no-name team who just got a lot of money. I mean, we know a lot of these people are going to apply.
Sure.
How do we ensure that the best players get on the teams? And say if a team like Immortals, for some reason, heaven forbid, don't make the application process, what's going to happen to their contracts and to their people? I mean, if they're already in a contract, what's going to happen
With the
in
organization. then
Exactly.
it has to be bought out.
So we
etc.
know-
You'd have to be bought out.
We
yes.
know that existing LCS franchises, or it's not, I shouldn't say franchises, but existing LCS organizations, if they don't get a spot
They
in the
get
franchising
compensated.
system, they are compensated.
Yeah.
And they lose their players.
Well,
Presumably because they wouldn't use them.
I don't know where
they would.
Like, are you
They
going to
would
take
wanna
a
play
roster
in the
full of
LCS.
LCS players to
Yeah.
play in like the Spanish league, or
Yeah.
like,
And
I
to
don't-
stream and make millions, maybe. I
Maybe.
mean,
Depends on the players. But so I guess going back to this, so you wouldn't want yourself to be player representative. You think Eugene's a good candidate. What about like I don't know if you Pope does sound like a good candidate overall in my mind.
I'd vote for him.
Yeah, but what do you think about like owners' reaction to this as well? Like, you as a player, you love the job security. You love the probably salary increase. We didn't even talk about that.
We didn't
You're
talk about the
gonna
money.
make bank next year, right?
Well, okay. To explain that though, minimum salary went up to 75K, and then additionally, after all salaries are tallied, players get a profit share amount of the profits, and if the total salaried amounts are less than that profit sharing amount, then the excess amount gets distributed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, do you think this? I was gonna say, do you think that overall, like players' union or not, that this franchising system benefits players more?
I think it benefits the players the most, since especially
most.
like
Okay.
salary wise, and I think job security wise, if you're good enough, I guess.
Okay. Explain.
I mean, just like whether if you're on Dignitas or you're in TSM, the franchising will bring up like new teams. Well, maybe new teams,
Mhm.
like new, and then like they're gonna have to pick players, stuff like that. So, like hopefully you get drafted, right? So,
Yeah.
like and then one of the things you can get picked on is like your performance like the past years. So, yeah.
What do you think
It's
about
really good.
What do you think about the academy / farm teams under the
Farm
system?
teams.
Because Challenger seems to be going away, and
It is going
Immortals actually has a couple young players under their belt, right? Like Cody Sun and Ole notwithstanding, you guys also have Onda and Stunt, right? So what do you think about academy teams, farm teams, the development of NA talent under this system? Is it good? Is it bad? Etc.
I guess the only thing I'm worried about, like, where does the collegiate team like mix here?
You're worried about collegiate? Oh my god.
Well, no, just
my
like
heart, my heart grew
I-
three
I
sizes
meant-
there.
I meant just like how do they fit in like in all of this?
Right.
Since yeah, it's just weird since the academy team is, I guess, like just a sister team, and I really don't know like what teams are gonna do with it, and maybe like form like a superstar team with streamers. I don't know.
Maybe.
Do you have any initial reactions to that superstar team that we saw, that Echo Fox signed of streamers?
Well, they'll go far. Maybe.
They'll go
They'll
far, maybe.
They said they were going to 3-0 TSM on their way to Worlds.
Oh, I can see that.
You're being very gracious, I think.
Yeah.
I like
I don't
it.
know how they could do that from the Challenger series, but
We'll see, I
So-
guess.
so you don't have any idea what they have planned for the academy or farm teams, and you don't think it's good. Like, do you think it's like a good system anyways, regardless of how they use it, like developing NA talent, etc.?
Yeah, I think it's good to get like fresh talent like off of just like solo queue and like people who want to be really good at the game, and yeah, like it's another way to bring new people, and new people is always good.
Okay,
Sweet, man.
cool. So, next up,
We want to do the rapid fire.
Yeah,
Oh yeah!
let's
Wow, we ran through time pretty fast there. Okay, so for NA LCS,
all right,
like
what
okay,
is
so-
what is rapid fire?
Yeah, I'm gonna explain.
Josh?
I'm gonna explain it. Okay, so I'm just gonna ask a question. Gonna go around the table. Anybody who wants to weigh in can weigh in. Gabe and I have to weigh in.
Yeah,
Everybody else is optional, but we'd love to hear your opinion on these things.
really
If you-
quick opinions, hot
quick
takes.
opinion. You can
Okay.
justify it. You don't have to give me like a long essay about why you chose your opinion, but if you want to justify it, please do. So for NALCS, we had Echo Fox and Dignitas both 2-0 in week 1.
So they're joining you in the 2-0.
The 2-0 club.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which of these teams is going to hit 4 match losses faster? And just to give you guys an idea of their upcoming schedule, Fox plays CLG,
Okay.
Cloud9, Envy, Dig. So they play each other. And then Dig plays TSM, Liquid, P1, and then Fox. So for me, I think it's going to be Echo Fox that's going to hit 4 match losses faster. I am not like their week 1 schedule does not define for me like that this is a strong team.
Yeah, they played FlyQuest and Team Liquid, and both of those teams didn't look great.
God, Liquid.
So we'll get to that.
We're gonna talk about Liquid in just a sec, but I think
that.
honestly, Echo Fox gonna hit the format, even though Dig has to play TSM and P1. P1 didn't look especially great, but yeah, I think it's gonna be Fox that hits 4 match losses before Team Dignitas. That is my prediction here. Gabe?
Yeah.
Staring into the distance?
I'm going to say Fox will hit 4 match losses faster, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Dig won't lose a few games on the way.
Yeah. Are you trying to say that maybe Fox would place higher at the end of the season than
No,
Dig?
no,
Okay.
Absolutely not. But I do think that like they will both lose a good amount of games as the split goes on.
Okay.
Like I don't think both teams will stay 2-0 and stay perfect in their record. I think they will be a lot of stumbles for those teams because they have a lot of clear weaknesses.
I think if you look at the bookmakers odds for both those teams going undefeated, well, obviously they can't both go undefeated, but
Pretty
either
high.
of them going undefeated.
If I were a betting man.
Yeah. Xmithie, what do you think?
I probably think the same. I think Echo Fox will probably get the 4 losses, just because I think their schedule is much harder.
What do you watch the games like while you're in the studio, right? Before and after your games, or do you play your game, go home, do whatever?
Just little tidbits, but if usually we're against them, I usually rewatch it.
Oh, okay. So never in the studio, but maybe later if you're playing them.
Yeah, usually in studio, like everyone's like running around just to do like media stuff or
Right.
do event stuff. So
got it. All right. What's next, Josh?
All right. Team Liquid had a week. We got Golden Glue, didn't get to play the second series that this team played. We had an interview with Piglet that went out last night on Invin. And he was not very kind to his teammates in that interview.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is going on at Team Liquid? Because like they came into the season, they said, you know what, this is the same roster. We have faith in Golden Glue.
He's hiding, laughing.
Yeah,
right now.
like what is going on here? Like, how do you do this? Like, I honestly, I'm gonna admit it. I bought the Liquid hype a little bit coming in. Like, I didn't think they were gonna be great, but I thought they would be better than last split. Like, I thought. You know, Golden Glue, maybe Golden Glue's got together. Piglet's back at ADC. Meta is pretty good for him and for this team. Like, they could maybe do it. Like,
and then they throw
better.
him on Jhin anyways. And
like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand what's happening. So, for me, I think...
I want to hear Xmithie first. I want to hear what he has to say first. What do you think of Team Liquid? Like, what's going on and what's going wrong?
Personally, I actually don't know, but I actually feel really bad for Team Liquid since like I think the potential, like I can't say the potential is there, but
you're not on CLG
like,
anymore. You can say it. Don't worry.
like Rainover is actually a really really good jungler, and I actually looked up to him like a long time already, and I just don't know how their communication or like how their system of just like shot calling, since like it's always just like people just have their own calls and like I don't know, they're just not really acting like as a team, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
In scrims they look much better, but like scrims don't really show that much compared to LCS. So yeah, I really don't know what is the main problem for their team.
Do you think it's like a stage anxiety issue? Like
we've heard this about Golden Glue before.
Like,
this is not the first time.
Do you
we've
think
heard
it's
this.
like nerves? Are nerves a big part of LCS performance a lot of the time?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of rumors about like just like people talking about just Golden Glue not really performing at his best in stage.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be one of the things.
Is that a widespread problem? Like, do you find like other, maybe not just Team Liquid, but other teams have players that have similar issues, perhaps?
Yeah, even in like my previous team, I don't want to say names, but it's like before it happened on my previous team. So I can feel that problem, and it's really hard to solve since like it's not really that you can fix like in a scrims. Like, hey, in this LCS game, what did you tell, or like what did you share?
or like trying to do scrims and be like, just imagine you're on stage
Yeah.
with just underwear on.
Just imagine, like,
It actually helps, like if you have like, we did that before in CLG, where like back like really early CLG, where we try to replicate everything, like
oh yeah, like
chairs,
stage
tables,
environment.
even temperature, even the crowd in the back, even like
Oh really?
like pink noise and everything. It was I think it helped too. So yeah.
That's really interesting. I'm imagining Golden Glue alone on the stage inside the studio. It's like Kobe, like just throwing up shots. You know, like he's in the gym just throwing up shots on his own.
Does Riot ever like give teams the opportunity to just like scrim together on the LCS studio or LCS stage? I think that'd be.
No, I don't think it ever that happened.
No,
like for me, for my team, but yeah.
Because I think that would be interesting if teams could like solicit
Yeah, but I mean, that's
Riot to do that, right?
That's like an actual physical space. It takes people's time and lots of people who are like pulling lights and AC and stuff like that.
Well, you don't need to like if they're just
the
like
power
on
of your
stage.
mind, man. The power of your mind.
But like
visualization.
But that's what I mean. If they can have that like empty stage and space
Yes,
and
of
have
course.
the visualization
Of course.
that, I feel like that could help a lot. And if
Now
Riot
the
could
thing is,
accommodate
the
that,
power of your brain allows you to close your eyes and envision that you're there and to take all the
totally.
anxiety. And
but you can't
especially-
close your eyes playing League of Legends, Riot.
I know.
All right.
To
This is-
envision yourself playing and doing the mechanics and putting yourself in situations and doing all this stuff. And someone like Xmithie comes along and he's saying that with his team, like he's been on that stage many times.
Yeah.
I assume that he still gets nerves and gets nervous. And that's a good thing. You
Totally.
want a certain level of anxiety. You don't want to be completely relaxed, but at the same time, you don't want to be stressed out. And I think to have like a veteran guy like Xmithie can only help the team dynamic and only help with stage presence, especially when you see somebody who's holding their own and just chilling and relaxing. That really rubs off, and especially his attitude and just what he's saying. I think that the nerves and stage presence is really tough to tackle, but I think an attitude like Xmithie could really help out.
That kind of like replication, Smithy, is that something that you see a lot of other teams doing? Because I know you talked about like trying to replicate environments and training environments, etc., in order to help with nerves or help keep pressure on or get used to pressure. Is that something you see a lot of, or what kind of, I guess, advanced training techniques are happening with LCS teams that maybe we or like the general public may not know about? Because we just normally think of training as like, they're just playing scrims and then they're just playing solo queue. Like what kind of other stuff are you guys doing?
I think it differentiates to every team. Some people just wear jerseys so that they can feel like they're like they shower and they do like wear their jerseys in like one scrim block so that they feel like it's a much closer game to LCS. Some people like what CLG did before, like literally did everything like temperature, wearing like, well, not like driving 40 minutes to LCS, but
like take a
just
little
did
trip around the block before.
No. We just did everything that we think is good for going to LCS, just like temperature wise, like even crowd noise in the back, and just after the games you only got like 8 minutes to talk about the game, stuff like that. So
right, so you tried to replicate
as close as to LCS as possible. So
And what also happens is he takes a bunch of vitamins and takes care of himself and gets ready for that LCS. Man, that's great.
All right, you guys are cramping my rapid fire style.
Sorry, I was super interested in that.
So anyways, my opinion on that is if you bench your mid after one series, you probably didn't believe in him to begin with. Maybe that's harsh of me to say, but it sucks to be like, we believe in him. Actually, maybe not. That kind of sucks. So I'm not a fan
What
of
have you
that.
done for me lately?
Last thing for NA LCS, C9 0-2 after week 1. Should we be worried about this team? My current thought is no.
They played CLG and TSM.
They played very good teams,
Yeah,
so
no.
I personally don't think we should be too worried about C9.
They're always like not the quickest starters either. So
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's a fair.
yeah,
criticism.
and Impact's not there. Like Ray is playing, so they have someone young that's still getting used to that kind of tankier meta too. So,
Yeah, that's fair.
Xmithie?
Any thoughts, Xmithie?
Oh yeah, I don't think people should be worried about C9. I think they're still a really good team. And for the Ray thing, I think Ray's actually a really good player. Like even compared to like Impact.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's just like you guys said, like experience is the only thing that differs a lot from them. But Ray has been improving like pretty fast, and I'm pretty sure like the coaching staff is doing a lot of it, and even probably Impact is helping it. And yeah, like the factor for them is I guess it's just like their mid jungle synergy.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of I actually don't know how to like compare them because like I usually actually don't see contracts in the mid lane that much. So
Yeah, and I remember when he was in the mid lane, it was normally not a great result. Like one Immortals game from last split jumps out into mind where he just like fed Dardoch a couple kills. So yeah. Speaking of, the next rapid fire question, if I remember correctly.
Yes, is CLG for real? They had a good first week.
Yeah, totally.
And like I said earlier, like it seems like maybe both teams. This is still early days. We just had week 1, but it seems like both teams have benefited from this move, which is something that I think some people predicted that like this actually seemed like a good trade in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So is Counter Logic Gaming for real? We had them very high in our power rankings, Gabe. I think we had them at 3rd.
Yes.
So we're predicting a 3rd place finish for CLG.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this team is for real. And I think one of the things that is really encouraging about the performance, and we actually chatted about this already, Gabe, is it's not like Dardoch was the reason necessarily that they won those games.
Yeah, no, he played pretty average, like for his standards. So with that in mind, the fact that they could pull out those wins is really convincing. But it wasn't, and they did it from behind, right? The one thing is that the wins from behind against Team Liquid were kind of like, Team Liquid is kind of a laughing stock in the NA LCS. No, but seriously, there's so many publications, so many people on social media who are absolutely ragging on Team Liquid, and it's not like the players are mechanically bad. They're quite good. It's just like the management, the coaching, like something's gone horribly wrong in Team Liquid, and
something is wrong in the state of Denmark.
And even like Piglet's expose was really one-sided because he was like not being truthful about his endeavors in the mid lane. I mean, he says he's never lost mid lane. There was one time where Froggen absolutely destroyed him.
Mark Z coming in with the tweet,
I mean,
showing the CS differential between him and Froggen.
It was so bad that there was like a video produced about how you should never rush Abyssal Scepter. Like it was not, there's a lot of people trying to point fingers right now, both within the organization and outside of the organization, and I think that's part of the problem. Anyways, that's
come back to CLG, please.
Yeah, to come back to CLG, that win was only convincing because it was coming from behind, and I think that's a really strong sign for the CLG team, and the fact that they did this while Dardoch wasn't like absolutely dominating.
That's my thought. Like if they can win games without Dardoch, like
and come
carrying the game and come from behind, like what happens when Dardoch does pop off?
Yeah, exactly.
Like that, I don't know. That sounds like a scary situation. Now, Xmithie, you don't have to comment on this because it is your former team. I do want to hear your opinion, though, if you're willing to give it to us. Your former team and obviously the player you were traded for. Is this team for real?
Yeah, I don't really have any bad blood to Zilger. Like I'm still like good friends with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking about for their team, yeah, like you guys said, they actually have a lot of room to grow since like Dardoch doesn't have to do that much in like all those games, and they still won.
Yeah.
And so it was mainly credit to like Zach's or like Afro shot calling, since usually he's the one in charge of shot calling when I was there, like after mid game, and like he did a lot of really good like reactive calls, which he was like that's what he likes to do. He just like try to outplay the opponent, like shot calling wise, like macro wise. So yeah, like they're doing pretty well. Zach is on his game, and when Dardoch gets into like the same level as them, they're gonna be like a much better team.
Okay. Moving on to EU LCS, Ninjas in Pajamas was sort of the proverbial whipping boy heading into week 1. Everybody said this roster was assembled last minute. There were a couple. Obviously, there were a couple people who were a couple import players, and it was unclear exactly how the former Fnatic Academy roster might like fit around those pieces. And in the end, like that didn't happen. They ended up having to fill those spots with other players. So is NIP as bad as you expected heading into week 1? I would say they are about as bad as I expected, but caveat, and this is something I was speaking to Deficio about this, it isn't. They actually look okay outside of laning phase in some cases. Like, it wasn't like excellent, but like Nagne had moments, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So while they their record is what I expected, I don't think this team is like necessarily a lost cause. I know I said 10% chance that they don't go to the promotion tournament. Maybe I'd say 15% chance they don't go to the promotion tournament now. I don't know. I think they were a little bit surprising, but man, like overall, it's kind of a lifeless performance except for a few moments. What do you think, Gabe?
They're okay. Like I think Europe's kind of in a weird place right now. There's a lot of people falling and a lot of people rising really quickly, and I think like the gap in Europe itself is really pronounced. I think NIP is a specific team where we actually have to see more.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically my thoughts on it. I don't know, Xmithie, how much of Europe you watch or just generally other regions. But yeah, what do you think of Europe overall, I guess, just to start, because you know they did come second in MSI. They kind of stole that from you guys.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I actually don't really watch any LCS, but I think G2 is a really good team, and that's to the extent that I know. And about NIP and them, I don't really have much knowledge on them.
Do you
I follow their CS:GO team, but that's it.
Do you know like their roster, like the kind of roster that they came into the EU LCS with at all?
No.
That's all right.
Okay. It's Prophet, who is the SKT top laner substitute. Yeah. And then Shook. And then mid laner Nagne. By the way.
Oh, I think I watched one or two of their games.
Oh, yeah?
Like, Nagne was playing Talia. And then...
Yeah.
By the way, if they make playoffs, I have to buy a NIP Nagne jersey. I'm just reiterating that.
Yeah,
I made a bet that if they make playoffs, I will buy.
Nagne is pretty good. Like, really good.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, I guess I had more Europe stuff, but
We're gonna ditch it.
now one more thing. Last Europe thing. So Misfits had not the best opening week.
Yeah, in contrast with a really good season.
Yeah,
split.
like it felt like you looked at sort of their growth and like the strength of that season, and now you compare it to this opening week, and it feels like I'm almost asking the same question that I asked about C9 for Misfits. Like, should fans be worried about this team? In the discussion I had with Deficio, he said he expects them to take third in their group, but I don't. I am worried about this team because it seems like they could have come out with a strong start, continuing on much of what they did last split, and then it felt a bit flat, honestly.
They had, so I don't think you should be worried. Josh, Misfits fan Josh Burry.
I wouldn't describe myself as a Misfits fan, but like, yes, the hypothetical Josh Burry Misfits fan should not
be worried. They played Fnatic. Fnatic has been a great resurgent team.
Yeah.
And Misfits was embedding a new jungler, and they still are. So
yeah, that's true.
Don't worry about it. Misfits still good. Shout out Misfits.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, that's basically my thoughts. Rapid fire. I'm going as quick as
yes.
as
There we
quick
go.
as
That's
I
it.
can.
That's the last shot
Yeah.
of this rapid fire barrage that I will unleash for today.
All right.
I think we're running pretty short on time here, so I guess.
Listen, yeah, you've got some action going on in behind Xmithie. Is there something going on right now in the team house? What's happening?
I haven't paid attention.
People
like, what
running
happened.
around.
Who owns that foam roller? Is that you?
Oh, no.
No, you're all into your vitamins, man. You're into all kinds of food, motivational quotes, man. What's going on in your life right now? Tell me about it before we let you go.
Not that much. Just all League of Legends and
And food? And food?
Yeah, he was
And
checking your
quarters.
Instagram.
And
I'm
quarters.
drinking Soylent right now, but that's it.
Hey, you should get Noah to send you a Chicago deep dish pizza, like he did one. Like he did one of his Smash players.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just get him to send one over. I'm sure he'll do it. All right. Thank you so much, Xmithie, for joining us. It was a real treat. I'm really glad we got to talk about Immortals and a player perspective on franchising.
Yeah, it was great.
And we got to pick your brain a bit about the NA LCS. Are there any last words, any last shout outs that you want before we head out?
Just thank you for everyone who just supported me and IMT, and hope you guys keep supporting us. That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, good luck for the rest of the summer split. You're doing really well so far. Hope that continues.
Best of luck. Keep eating good food. Keep playing that guitar, man. Keep having fun.
Get those vitamins.
Thanks.
All right, sweet.
All right.
We'll see you later.
Cheers.
I guess.
All right.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Though that, I will say, was the slowest rapid fire.
Yeah, it's because you kept expanding. Like it's like when you fire a projectile underwater, right? There's like cavitation around it. There's like an air bubble around it, and you just were going to the surface with that air bubble.
All
Like
right.
this bullet was lost.
I'm an analyst. That's
no,
what
I
I'm
know.
supposed to do.
I know.
But we're gonna speed things up.
Next week it's
Next
gonna be
week,
rapid.
It's gonna be one sentence, one sentence, one sentence, one sentence.
The rapid fire was not rapid fire enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Guess what?
That's my
quick.
analysis of the
Just
situation.
change the name there, Josh, to something that's more appropriate
It
for
was
Gabe.
more like a
Look.
cannon. You can fire it.
It was
has
a
to be
musket.
reloaded.
Musket
Yeah.
fire.
Musket, yeah.
So tune in next
What's-
week for more musket fire.
No.
More Gabe, more Josh, more Ryan, and
we
more
have-
special guests on the Nexus podcast.
Do we know who our next guest is?
We have an inkling.
An inkling.
It's not
That's-
confirmed, right?
And
We
that's
can't
all.
say it.
That's all I'll say.
All right.
Aw.
All
I
right.
mean, that's all you'll say.
Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next week. Okay.
See ya.
All right, Josh, what a